So we have Suzanna joining us. She is a senior manager for the Product Security Foundation's team. And at Slack, she's built a brand new team within product security that's focused more on proactive security measures by delivering secure by default libraries and services for Slack. So welcome, Suzanna.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for a nice intro. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you virtually. I'm so excited to be here. Before I start talking about proactive security at Slack, I want to also join all the other ladies who spoke before to congratulate you with International Women's Day. I'm so happy to see that it's becoming a bigger and bigger event in the United States. When I moved to US 25 years ago from Armenia, it was a big event there, and it is still their big event, but now I see it getting more and more recognized internationally, and especially United States. It's really special to me. So happy International Women's Day to all of you. So as Angie said, I'm the manager for Product Security Foundations team at Slack. And here I'm going to talk the next 20 minutes what we do at Slack in terms of proactive security measurements, especially around product security. Quick introduction and background, just in case. By the way, I heard lots of great love and feedback in our chat talking about how much you love using Slack, the tool. That's great. Thank you so much. So in case of some of you never heard about Slack, quick intro. Slack is basically a collaboration tool that makes your work life much simple, much pleasant, and much productive. And work life meaning not just your corporate work. It can be anything to do with nonprofit organization, your fun activities, you are planning to do something with your friends, and the use cases go forever. So basically, it's an amazing collaboration tool to make your work done, right? And what we do here in the Slack security team, we want to make sure that we keep that tool for you to be safe, secure, and make sure that your data is safe with you. So basically, we are providing the collaboration platform to make sure that everything what you do, it is Slack secure and pleasant. And what's our strategy? We provide lots of bespoke reviews. We do lots of automation, ongoing education, and production-ready components. Basically, anytime we release something for our engineers to start using it, and I have use cases to go through one by one how we do that. Before that, also quick history. Today, this year, we are celebrating Slack's 7th anniversary. And as we celebrate Slack's 7th anniversary, we also have a great history of the security, right? So first, actually security, the way it launched, our first security engineer was our CTO, Cal Henderson. In 2014, he basically launched the bug bounty program for Slack via HackerOne. And he was the first person who was actually triaging the security issues. And then in 2015, as the Slack was growing, they hired the first engineering manager who basically started putting plan together and charter for the product security. He started hiring more engineers and doing some basically other automations around security development lifecycle. As Slack started growing and team growing, in 2018, the current director of product security, Larkin Ryder, took the ownership of the product security pillar. And she realized that as we're exponentially growing, we need to make sure we put more measurements in our proactive security. So it's important to have our traditional product security components in place, such as reviewing, providing consultations, providing some scanning and automations, but we need to make sure that we also look for classes of vulnerabilities and come up with proactive measurements. With that, they hired me in the late of 2019. They hired me as the founding manager for Product Security Foundations team. So what is Foundations team? Just a quick thing is, as I mentioned, we are basically building secure by default libraries and services. We are providing future proof for Slack, the product. And how we do it, we basically write the code as any other development organization. And we work with other engineers to make sure the code is utilized and used safely by our engineers. And how we decide to what kind of work we want to work, what classes of vulnerabilities we want to address. So that's pretty straightforward. In the beginning, obviously, we wanted to make sure that we look at our code base, we understand our potential big classes of vulnerabilities and figure out the best approach how to build new libraries and services. As the team became bigger, as our services became more mature, we also done lots of data analysis, gathering lots of interesting information. So to make better data-driven decisions, such as our incidents data, our bug bounty reports, our data that comes from our tooling automations to better understand the classes of vulnerabilities and come up with ways how to solve it. And we're also marrying that with OWASP Top 10. So OWASP Top 10, which is the Open Web Application Security Project, those are the known vulnerabilities, and we wanted to make sure that we have the right services and libraries to address those issues. And obviously, sometimes also customer demands come our way too, but we are not feature-facing team. We are more back-end team, basically working on future-proof, and that's why we are not doing lots of, we don't have product management working with us. Basically, we act as a product manager for our team. But with that, we also use Slack's design principles, the most important things, which is very to make sure that we align with the organization, same way as other engineering teams do. We want to make sure all the libraries and services we write, they don't make, they are very simple and engineers don't have to think how they call the service or the library. It has to have great serviceability components in terms of for us making sure that our reliability is always up. And we don't want to boil an ocean. We want to make sure we have small, rapid developments, prototype the way, do the experiments, learn from it, and then move on. And most importantly, especially in the security team, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there are already tools and services there that we can reuse, we're definitely going to do it instead of writing from scratch on our own. And the biggest one I want to highlight is the take bigger and bolder steps and bets, basically figuring out like what can we do, maybe something that we can invent, we can put lots of efforts to, but it will in return will get a lots of great benefits securing our product. Sorry. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the OWASP Top 10 vulnerabilities that we're trying to prevent with our new Secure by Default libraries and services. The first one, I want to talk about broken authentication and broken access control. That's a big one. Authentication is very important. It's also scary. We need to make sure the right people are authenticated to our platform, and we make sure that people don't automatically get get reset their passwords or get their passwords that get stolen or hacked. So what we do. So first thing about our crypto library. That was actually the first library that we released for the foundations team. And basically the purpose of this, we know cryptography is very complex, it's very challenging. And we don't want our engineers, backend engineers, to think about like what type of hashing algorithm to use or what type of encryption algorithm to use. We want to provide a library with the right helper functions to do all the job for them, so they don't have to think about it, they don't have to unintentionally introduce some potential problems and bugs. And that's how we introduced our crypto library. This is also a great example as an impact for our Slack's Better Engineering Initiative. So basically, what is Slack's Better Engineering Initiative? Whenever you go, you touch a code, you leave that code much better, and you don't try to fix it like small thing, you want to fix it a big bigger way, so it can be used for other engineers much better and much safer and secure way. So that's the great impact of crypto library. We also made sure we have linters, so all the new engineers who come, who trying to use the old libraries, they have a linter in place, so they know they have to use the new one. The next one is about magic logins. So what is magic logins? Magic logins is it's a unique thing for Slack, but also for some other web applications. But for Slack, basically, if you don't want to use your password, and you can use this magic login to authenticate yourself. Obviously, it's a powerful tool, but potentially also can have a security problem. So when we were looking at our code base, we realized that it has some legacy code patterns that we wanted to fix it and make it better. And that's what team actually done. So basically, first step was reviewing the code, understanding what's happening, and then providing better documentation, providing better test case coverage, and also framework, which will be much simpler and easier for our engineers to use. This was also amazing foundation for other future authentication hardening efforts. Let's talk about injection and cross-site scripting. The first example, which is like basically a very important project that our team worked on, is magical images. So what this does, basically anytime you go to Slack, you upload a video, you upload any type of image, right? A PDF file, your Excel documents, etc. It is going to thumbnail that image or that document. And basically it goes through image magic library, which was used to be called directly in our web app. So what our team has done basically is isolated that call to a separate service. That was the brand new service that the team put together last year, beginning of last year. And that was right before we ended, like we were entering the COVID era. Basically, everyone started using Slack. So the usage of Slack was exponentially increasing. And that was even more scarier, to make sure that our brand new service scales and doesn't produce any serviceability issues. And definitely we didn't want to make sure we produce any type of outages. So amazingly, as we launched this service last February and March, it was already in full production, especially whenever you are uploading files and thumbnailing. And we had 0 incidents. And the reason why, because the team really put lots of efforts, making sure we add extra test case coverages, making sure we have feature flagged, and making sure we are going with to the production on gradual steps. So right now, the biggest impact is basically we are processing approximately 300 requests at the peak, an image, thumbnailing, or any other forms, and which is equivalent to 15 million requests per day. What it does, it dramatically reduces security risk when you are thumbnailing images. HTML sanitizer. So what HTML sanitizer does, basically whenever you go and post a link in your Slack channel or somewhere, it unfurls the information. So that unfurling, basically, it has HTML tags. So our service basically makes sure that all these tags are properly sanitized to prevent any potential cross-site scripting or injection security vulnerabilities. The good thing about this library was that it actually got open source. So other people can come now to Slack HQ repository and use that library, especially if they are using Hacklang. And I know it's not many companies use Hacklang, it's probably Facebook and Slack, but anyway, so it's there, you can use it and you can contribute it. And this was our first virtual internship project. Basically this done by our interns. And if you search, use a blog on virtual internship at Slack and security, you'll find all the details about this project and how this project was impactful and meaningful for our interns who are coming back as full-timers to Slack and work for our team this summer. Sensitive data exposure. That's another very important security type of vulnerability that especially with GDPR that came in a couple years ago, and the California Data Privacy Act, European Data Privacy Acts, we know we need to make sure that our customer data stays with them and secures. And logs obviously are a very powerful tool for our engineers to understand if something goes wrong, but we want to make sure we don't unintentionally log something that we didn't want to log. So sensitive information can be channel names, file names, all this information. We don't want to make sure they are not in our logs. So basically we wrote a tool to do that, to detect automatically if we unintentionally log this type of data, and we make sure that it is out of our service. We get an alert and we take care of it immediately. And there was an amazing talk about just this project by Ryan Slama, who is the engineer in my team. So if you are interested, he did this talk at the local MOGO conference. So feel free to go and search and look the details about this project. Security misconfiguration, that's another important thing. Like you can unintentionally do lots of mistakes, and we want to make sure we detect that. For this type of vulnerabilities, we have tons of tools that we actually purchased or we use as an open source. So, but I'm using just one example, which is the tool the team wrote. Obviously, Slack is on AWS infrastructure, and provisioning process can be very complex. So people can unintentionally basically bring their endpoints without a proper authentication. Obviously, all our sensitive services are behind authentication services, authentication, but sometimes for some testing purposes, this and that, developers can make mistakes. So basically Reigns is built to prevent that kind of mistakes, because these type of defects we were getting from our bug bounty reports all the time, the reports coming. So the bug bounty researchers, this was the easy way, very easy way to detect and find the open endpoints without proper authentication. And we were giving lots of bounties to the researchers. So this was, we knew if we put the tool together, we can easily fix this problem. Okay, so the last one I want to quickly talk about using components with known vulnerabilities. Again, I'll talk a little bit about Twistlog. So Twistlog is a tool we purchased from Palo Alto Networks, which basically scans for vulnerabilities in our Kubernetes infrastructure. And we didn't want to invent, we knew we actually spent lots of time putting pros and cons of all the existing tools there, and even open source free tools that we can use. And we came out with a Twistlog, which provides amazing infrastructure. It provides good reporting that we could easily integrate to our CI pipeline and make sure that we have our infrastructure, Kubernetes infrastructure, without third-party vulnerabilities. So as we launched this product, we already found dozens of vulnerabilities that we prevented, right? Which could, bring buffer overflows or denial of service attacks. Ossify is another tool. This is another internship project was done on vulnerabilities, but this was vulnerabilities in our code libraries, not the infrastructure. So this was an internship project done by our interns 2 summers ago. Another great conference talk about that, 10,000 dependencies under the sea. So I will highly encourage you to go look at it. This was presented at DEF CON last summer. And with that, I know I only have 1 more minute, so I just want to say, okay, what's next? What we are planning to do? There are still like all the tools that I talked about, or services, libraries, it's like probably 50%. We've done more than that, but I wanted just to highlight a few key of them. And the most important thing, we want to continue our working on the projects that produce big impact. So we want to harden authentication, authorization, code base. We are working on the 2FA hardening flows right now and client hardening. We've been the first few years we're focusing on web app backend. Now we want to start to put some focus on the client side from the security perspective, and also look for more types of proactive security, such as early cross-site warning systems, and continue our education and evangelism, both internally to our security, to our engineers in the backend, as well as to the external community, and put lots of focus and efforts on better engineering, because all the projects for foundations team is all around better engineering, making the code much better, safer, and proficient to use. With that, I want to thank you all for your great time, and I'll go and look. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Thank you so much, and we are hiring.